I feel like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I feel like a UFC fighter or something. That's awesome. If you know me, and we're going to go fast here, there's not a lot of time to waste. We have 40 minutes together. I am passionate about helping agents grow their production business as high and as big as they want it to go. So we're going to talk about scale. Scale, meaning that you scale to the size that you want on your terms, and you're not held back because you don't understand the steps, the tools, and the strategies needed to get to where you want to go. Scale does not mean feeling pressure to do a certain amount of homes, because one of the dangers of a great few days like these, and then we'll have my stats up in a minute, and it doesn't mean you have to go do 1,000 transactions or 500 transactions or 100, but it does mean that you have to be able to go do what you want to do, and that when you stop, it's on your terms and not because you don't have the tools and the strategies. So with that, we're going to go into the 8 laws of scale. If time allows, I'll also give you a simple system to convert more business today. All right, you guys ready? Really brief introduction. I run Beer Home Team at eXp Realty in San Diego. Team sold more than $2.4 billion worth of real estate, $612 million of that this past year across 725 transactions. I only share that more so that you understand that from a perspective standpoint, because that's what most things are about. Nothing is coming from theory. Nothing is what I think could work, might work, or just sounds like a good idea. I'm going to give you, from the trenches, tested, what is effective, not just also for me, but there's so many similarities amongst the people that, amongst just so many of my peers across the country, a lot of you in the audience here. That's landed us as number 1 team in the world for eXp in GCI. Veronica Figueroa is here, who is number 1 in the world for transactions. So she's awesome. I really look up to her. That's turned us into 4-time recipients of Inc. 5000 on the Inc. 5000 list. My favorite of these, Inc. Magazine Best Places to Work. And so that's awesome. And that's what it's about. It's having a great place to work and then bringing human beings along with you to join in on your vision that there has to be a great degree of clarity. And so we'll go through that. Also, agentacademy.com with my partnership with John Cheplack, who rocked the stage earlier today. And we are committed 100%. If you loved John earlier today, if you enjoy what I'll share with you, we go all out with the deepest level of content in the industry, period. So with that, let's get started. Number 1 is, I'm going to take you really quickly to what made a tremendous difference, the turning point in my career. And somebody asked me, what the heck are you doing? So I'll ask you, what the heck are you doing? I went to a conference in San Diego. And at the time, I was being told by my peers I was doing really well because I was selling 6 homes a year and 5 and 7 and 8. And I was being told, especially in a place like San Diego, hey, great job, great job, great job. So I go to this conference, and there's a gentleman there, an older gentleman, legend in the game. His name is Greg Newman. In fact, in the original Red Book, the Millionaire Real Estate book, on the back, the stories there, he's one of them. Okay, so he's doing a talk in a little breakout session, but I quickly figured out that he's different from anyone else that I'd ever run into in the real estate business. Because he didn't have the, hey, you're doing a great job approach. He looked at the room, and he literally said, guys, I don't know what the heck you're doing. If you're not selling at least 24 homes a year, meaning 2 homes a month, which, by the way, means you're literally failing 28 days a month, winning twice, then what are you doing? Okay, so that was a big moment for me. Now, you might be past that already, at it, near it, below it, whatever it might be, but that was a huge moment for me because, no one had ever spoken to me that way, and I appreciated it. So, stop. That gives us a lesson just in kindness. Kindness is that when you see a friend who could be doing better, let them know. Stop being so nice. Being nice is being cruel. But when he told us, when I heard him say that, it also just, what do you mean you could do 24 homes in a year? I literally didn't know you could do it. I had a concept that you could do more, but I didn't know you could do that much more. I was in a little tiny space, not a lot of people around me. And so it just changed. I can stay on this for a while, but needless to say, it put me on a path of just searching for a lot more than what I had at the time. And that made a huge difference. Now, yours might not be 24, but still, every now and then it's good to look in the mirror, and I'll still do it, and ask yourself that question. Now, along the way on that journey, the thing that you learn, it's impossible for you to leave. Unfortunately, it's probably possible for you to leave here without this concept, but it would be a travesty if you do. You have to give up control to gain control. For God's sake, you're at the Sphere Rocket Conference. It's all about giving up control to gain control. And by the way, I just have to say, and I'm not asked to say this, they have a tremendous company and an amazing operation. These guys, Justin and Sphere Rocket, and we use them personally in our business. But you have to learn to give up control to gain the life and the business that you want. You have to come to the point where you understand that you do not show homes better than everybody else. You don't push the buttons better than everyone else. You absolutely don't order inspections better than anyone else. I mean, I was done a huge disservice, by the way, by my first broker, and we'll leave it aside, little tiny boutique guy. Like one of those, we're all pretty good people in this industry. That doesn't mean we're all professional, but we're good people. But there's that occasional bad apple, the 1 in 100 or so that we all gives us all a bit. That was him. But the one nice thing about it was she knows when she's smiling and laughing. He'll go unnamed. I've never, not on day one, not today, not tomorrow, I've never ran a transaction. I've never managed a listing. I've never ordered an inspection. I've never sat and done the disclosure paperwork. I've never put together all the deal, okay? Ran it through the DocuSign. Never, ever, never. Not on transaction one, not when I was broke, because you can have people do this for you and pay on the back end, pay on the front end. There's a million ways for you to not do it. But you do not order the inspection better than anyone else. You do not attend the photos better than anyone else. Somehow we've managed to sell hundreds and hundreds of homes, thousands, I'm talking hundreds per year, and haven't been to a photo session in a decade. How's that? How does that work? Well, it just works because that's what we decided to do. We realized that you're just not as important as you think you are. And the more you understand that, the more important you'll actually be. Because you'll move on to important things. Giving up control to gain control is the one thing that, for the most part, if I look at what holds people back, they're just not willing to do it. You think that you're genuinely better at certain things. But here's my view of the real estate industry, or the business. This is where a beer home team agent lives. This is where I believe you should live. And if you're a solo agent, if you're brand new, maybe you have to cross over in a couple of areas for the meantime, particularly on the left side of this thing, never on the right, but particularly on the left. That over time, it really helps for you to have a map on where you're going and what are the things that you have to start giving up to others, whether it be in-house, whether it be overseas, whether it be through Sphere Rocket, regardless of where it's through, you have to give these things up. So, how do you sell 725 homes? How do you sell 1,000 plus homes in Veronica's case and in others? Well, here's the way our business works. There's getting the lead, right? You have to get the lead. That's the job of marketing in our business. Now, you might be in a place where you have to cross over there and there's going to be some prospecting that's done. That's awesome. When you're prospecting, and maybe not just some, it could be years of it, it could be hundreds of calls a day, 4 years. But the mistake I see is not in doing the activity, it's in that we watch people for decades do the activity and then not take part of those profits to reinvest it into something that'll bring you leads, whether you show up or not. That's key. But in a built-out organization, getting leads, marketing. Does that mean that I'll never have an agent bring in a lead? Of course we do. Do they talk to their sphere and so on? Sure, of course they do. But does my P&L depend on it? Not at all. Then when you have a lead, you have to convert it to clients. When you go to convert to client, that job is the role of inside sales. Okay, that is the way where that whole function from getting the lead, which often are they all like tomorrow leads? They come by, I want to buy a house this morning. 6 months from now, more often than not. So we're just going to have to decide what camp we're in. You get to choose today, finally, especially if you're a team leader in the room, you get to decide if you're going to stay in the camp of people that are going to just complain forever, bitching about how your agents won't do it, or if you just want to build a system that works with human nature and human behavior. Inside sales takes the lead through to client, turns them into an appointment. Our agents get appointments, not leads. Now, if you're a solo agent, you'll want to know this. It was my second ever hire in the ISA. I had my assistant. She did my transaction management, my listing management, and was my right hand. She deployed my marketing. And then we hired an ISA. Because the whole point of the assistant was, well, let me be out and get more business. But then getting more business creates more follow-up. So then I realized, well, I should be converting the business that's going to come right now. Instead of doing the roller coaster thing, what if I just, after selling this home, just went on my next appointment? After selling this home, I went on my next appointment, and at the office, they were teeing those up. So the inside sales role, I think most people bring it on way too late. And this thing like, well, I'm a solo agent, I'm a that, I'm a this. Listen, you're in sales and you're hopefully in favor of efficiency. It doesn't stop with the labels of I'm this, I'm that. If a solo agent can have an assistant, a solo agent can have an ISA, a solo agent can have a VA in any of those roles or in a marketing role, whatever it might be. So our agents in this area here with the yellow arrows, they live right there. See, they live in client to contract. Get the client, meet them at the appointment, go to contract. Go to the appointment, go to contract. If you live in that space, it explains a lot about how you can sell so many more homes than people that try to spend their time ordering the roofer to scheduling them to show up at 10. Oh, they can't show up at 10. Sorry, they're busy. Can you come at 9? Let me call the seller. Let me find out. That's insane. That is completely insane. If you're doing that, you just do not understand business. Now, I'm trying to poke you to wake you up, but I'm also delicately and lovingly trying to invite you into a space where you'll learn to just give those things up, because that's what we love to share with people and to help you do. Now, on the right side of this thing, it's operations. So listing management, contract to close, closing manager. That might be your first VA, your first assistant, whatever it might be. I just know it's not you. And then even the repeat and referral business side of it. This is more on a scaled out version, okay? So this is the one place where I break the rule I did in the very beginning that you only live on the left. If you have a smaller organization, of course you want to be working that repeat business, calling them events and so on. But team leaders, one of the most common mistakes I see, you've just spent your money, your resources, built out your organization, put your ass on the line, brought in the business, and then you're asking your agents to own the relationship. Call your past clients. Listen to your language. Call your past clients. Call your past clients. No, it's our past clients, A. And B, I don't want the relationship there. I want the relationship with your home team. I want the relationship with the business. So your business, your inside sales team should be participating in it, and your marketing team should be primarily responsible for nurturing that past client business. Now, if one of my agents is calling the past clients or not and so on, do I tell them not to? Of course I don't tell them not to. But am I one of the people wasting a lot of energy on, hey, how come you're not calling your past clients? How come you're not calling your past? First of all, we already talked about most won't, and we're just fighting human behavior. But at the same time, I want that relationship to live with your home team, not with, John Smith. Does that make sense? John Smith could be at Coldwell Banker tomorrow morning. I'm going to stay at your home team for the rest of my life. Okay? And I'm the only one guaranteed to do that. Can I get a bottle of water up here, please? Thank you. Now, in what I just said, I was just in Phoenix. We were having a discussion around these points, and someone said, well, what about your relationships? I mean, my relationships are so important to me. What about your relationships? How can you have such good relationships with all these people? That's a valid question. I understand it. Listen, your relationships might be better than mine. They might be. They truly might be. Now, I think have really good relationships. I think we have, we're genuinely, because we have a system for it and a process that's documented, that's duplicatable, that thank you so much, whether someone leaves the business, stays in the business or whatnot, there's a system that guarantees that our clients will be called on a schedule on a yearly basis, that the voicemail will be dropped, that the events will happen. But still, your relationships could very well be better than mine. Mine are this good, yours might be this good. Could that be it's your decision if this gap is going to be worth many, many, many hundreds of thousands, if not multi-seven figures of profit net per year, and be able to be outside of my city roughly 5 months a year and do whatever the fuck I want. You have to decide if this little gap in your relationships are better than mine are worth, or if you're willing to give up control to gain control. Make sense? I'm just going to give it to you like it really is, because this is the way it really is regardless. Now, we did 725 homes this past year. If you did 36, am I 20 times a better agent than you? Like, is my buyer presentation 20 times better? My listing presentation 20 times better? Are you my 20 times better at explaining whatever it is, disclosures and negotiating and so on and so on? No, not at all. Not at all. Heck, your listing presentation might be better than mine. But I'll tell you where I do have not just an edge, but a football field worth of space. It's in organizing human beings. It's in organizational structure. It's in understanding compensation and incentives and how to build benefits and how to run an organization. But not because I'm born that way whatsoever. I was the kid in that room that was wowed by someone saying you can sell 24 in a year. So it's not that, but it's because I have spent a lot of time putting myself into those rooms for years. And because I've been willing to understand the principles of business, which are universal, so both inside and outside of the industry, and I've been willing to give up 40% of my income to gain 90% of my time back. I've been willing to do that. And a lot of people talk the game of I want to go here and scale and this, I'm going to sell that many. I remember having a conversation recently in what city? I was in Atlanta. She said, well, I'm going to sell X amount of homes this coming year. So, how many did you sell last year? It was like half the amount, 50 to 100 or something like that. I said, okay, well, what are we doing differently? There was no answer for it. That you don't get to wish yourself into your sales goal. You'll have to actually follow the principles of it. So I was willing to give up 40% of my income to gain 90% of my time. What was I going to do with my time? I'll bet on myself any day that I'll turn that into more income. 100%. But if you're not willing to make those trade-offs, to take a small step back and then just sprint forward, it's going to be challenging. And that leads us back to that giving up control to gain control. I just want you to take that home, sit with it, because there's people you're looking up to in the business. You might be the better agent. They just might be the more, not the better business person, I don't want to say it that, they might just be the more experienced business person. They've given themselves that opportunity. Understanding also this, what if when I gave up that 40% of my income, because I totally gave up my buyer business, I'm talking about my brothers, my cousins, my NFL football players, my CEOs, here you go, I'll never work another one again, and that was 95% of what I was doing. I mean, that was my business. I got accidental listings at the time. Well, what if I hadn't been able to get my listing business up, which became the #1 lister in San Diego County within a 24-month period? But what if I couldn't do it? Go right back. All right? So have that confidence. Operations is greater than sales. Operations is greater than sales. We're a funny bunch, us real estate agents. We really are. Millions of dollars in potential in a profitable business. But we're so reluctant to invest in it, to act like business people. If you and I, virtually anybody, the most hesitant person in here to act as a business person, but if you and I were to partner on an ice cream shop, I give this example from time to time, so pardon me if you've heard it. It's too accurate. If you and I were to partner on an ice cream shop, what would we do? What would you do? It'd literally be your suggestion, not even mine. You'd say, well, gee, Dan, we got to go get a lease. We're going to go, okay, where should it be located? We'd sign a lease. We'd get our branding done. We'd have signage. We'd hire 2 or 3 high school kids, so we'd have employees. We'd go get our point of sale system. We'd go get we'd buy inventory. We'd literally go and buy ice cream. We'd build the place out. I mean, forget about it. We're like totally invested in this thing. We haven't even scooped a scoop of ice cream. And how good is this little neighborhood ice cream shop going to do if it does great? Is it going to net $100,000 maybe for the year? I don't know, maybe 150, whatever. It's not going to net a couple $1 million though. But that's how invested we would be in our little ice cream shop. And on the real estate side, what are we willing to do? Almost nothing. Now, not us, perhaps, but our competition. And here's the thing, John, my partner John, touched on it. He talked about how we're sitting waist high in the water and the tide's coming out, right? He's talking about the changing market. This is a room that's attracted to the idea of leverage and running a business, but you're going to face fear. A lot of it. So am I. I did a video very recently as I was on the phone with somebody that I coach, and he said, Dan, like, how do you just do all those things you do, and you're never afraid, you're never scared, you just do them? So no, I'm so sorry. That's the bullshit of Facebook in front of you. For years, I'd go home, and it was, I don't know, it was. Memory, at least, is that it was maybe once every couple months. I'd go home and I'd just lay fetal position. About 11 a.m. on a work day, I'd just go lay on the couch and I was just done. I absolutely felt that. Now, over the years, it still happens to me up to this day. I was reminded of it recently because it happened to me about a month ago. Now it happens once or twice a year instead of once or twice a month. So you're going to feel that. And it's okay to be. We're going to be divided here very soon between those that are going to fight through it, face it, go, do it, and those that don't. You know who's most likely to fail at it, by the way? The people in here who value perfect. If you value perfect, you're in great danger. If you value really good and done, you have an awesome shot. Done is far better than perfect. Perfect is the number one thing that'll take you. It's the great excuse for inaction. So you just think about this. Now, operations, that is really the bedrock of our business. Again, I'm not 20 times better agent. It's an operational issue. Most people building teams, you go, hey, I'm going to go get agents. Hey, I just got 5 agents. Awesome. Tell me about your operation. What do you mean my operation? I just got 5 agents. Okay. Well, then you're going to be stuck in the world of having to compete on splits and leads forever. It's like bringing people onto a platform that doesn't exist. What are they staying for? And we're confused as to A, why we can't find really good people, and B, why it's just a complete cluster. You have to build out the operation side of your business. I would rather lose my best agents, which, by the way, my best agent brought in over $1 million of GCI to the team, not including his cut, company dollar. And I'd rather lose him than my best operations people. I just want you to really let that land. When you have the operations side of the business built out, you will have a successful, scalable business if there's a place, a platform for your agents to stand, and there's value beyond leads and splits, because there's a better split somewhere else, guaranteed. I know that for sure. I tell people at the very first interview. Very first interview, I let them know that. And leads, how hard is it to get a lead? Eventually you figure out that like Realtor.com takes credit cards. So there must be a lot more to your organization, and it's on the operations side. Now, one of the things that gets in the way when we're building out that operation side, if you buy into that, you say, awesome, I want to make those investments, let's get at it, I get the ice cream thing, let's do it, is misstepping or it's not having an accurate assessment of risk. So a lot of the time, one agent, one leader, one business person can look at an opportunity and they see X amount of risk in it, and the other sees a completely different picture. Number one, underneath it all is, are you built to ask yourself, what does it cost versus what does it make? Okay? What does it cost people get crushed? I watch people, I just switched from this CRM to this CRM. Really? Tell me about that. Why is that? Well, I saved $8,000. Awesome. So what's your upside on that? The upside on saving $8,000, guys, is what? $8,000. The upside on a great business decision is multi-six figures, if not seven figures per year, year over year, and freedom. This is what I mean by accurate assessment of risk. Let's suppose that in your mind you're committed to making a hire. That hire is going to be $40,000. You go and search for who you're going to hire, and it turns out that the perfect candidate that will make a real difference. You're looking at 3 candidates. These are okay. This one's clearly the person, except for it's not $40,000, $64,000. Proper assessment of risk is to understand you've already committed to $40,000. In fact, you might already have a $40,000 employee you're trying to upgrade. Okay? In this example, you've mentally committed to $40,000. So the risk is not $64,000. It's $64,000 minus $40,000. So we're left with $24,000 of risk. But is it $24,000? Because I don't think we're going to write the check for their salary for the entire year on day one. So it's really, you're going to know if this is the right person within, the reality is you'll probably know in like a week or two, but there's no way you'll admit that one to yourself so quickly. You'll definitely know in a month, and you'll be massively stubborn, and you'll keep them for 2 months, I promise. But you have a 2-month risk, $2,000 a month. It's a $4,000 gamble. That's what you're actually looking at. And if you subscribe to the principles of proximity, of modeling, of access, of getting yourselves, which you clearly do, in rooms where there's people that will share ideas, and depending on what rooms you live in outside of this room, how the depth of that access and how much of that blueprint you get access to, then when you're going to make that hire, you're not making it blind. You're not going through the hiring process without knowing exactly what has worked, not just for one or two, but for many, many, many successful people. So, the advantage isn't completely in your favor. I view it a lot like if I went to Vegas and there's a secret room in one of these weird, casinos off the strip that you only bump into when you're doing weird things really late at night. And you walk into one of these places and there's this little secret room in one of these strange casinos, and there's a table there. And this table costs $4,000 a hand. That's what it costs to play. It's $4,000 a hand. But here's the kicker. If you hit, it doesn't pay $4,000. If you hit, it pays hundreds of thousands of dollars in incremental net income. If you hit often enough, it actually starts paying millions. And the craziest thing about this table, the odds are not in the house's favor. They're in your favor. Because you're not going into the game blind. You're going in having studied exactly what steps to take, what to do, how to hire the person, how to interview the person, what questions to ask, the whole deal. You have the blueprint. So you go into that thing, odds in your favor with a disproportionate, asymmetric payoff in your favor. That's the table that I found when I found just the simple principles of business inside and outside our industry. This is just a business conversation. And that's what I love, by the way. If you find yourself in more of our rooms, you're going to be in business conversations. The number one thing that John and I hear when we have any of our events, we might have the videographers, we might have a sponsor or something in the room, and they come over and they say, shit, I didn't know conference was for me. Like these are just business principles. My goal is to find that table and put that $4,000 down. And what would I do if I don't hit? If I lose my $4,000? I'll put another $4,000 down. The odds are in my favor. That was just not the right person. I'm not an employee. I now have a little bit more data. I learned something. I'm playing again. And in fact, I'm still playing to this day, and I'll never stop playing. My entire mission is to play that table as often as I possibly can. Now, there's people playing it at a far superior. Like, that's an understatement. An ungodly superior level. That's Elon Musk. That's Bill Gates. That's all. They also have 24 hours in their day, guys. They've just been sitting at that table way longer than us. Clarity and transparency. Chet Black, when he was mentioning me earlier, when he was up, he mentioned, my P&L, and I expose it. And he was talking about I expose it at events that we do, go line by line. I do that at the operations playbook. I do it in different places, but I do it internally. And I don't know if you caught that. I do it internally on a quarterly basis. I hold what's called the State of the Company meeting, and I just like the State of the Union is what it's modeled after. And I share the state of the company. That includes the finances, the revenue, the profit, the everything, our margins, the whole deal. And a lot of people will ask me, Dan, how can you expose all that to them? They'll know you're making money. They'll know you're making so much. How can you, doesn't that worry you? They're all going to want this, or they're going to want that, they're going to demand this, they're going to leave. Say, are you out of your mind? Do you think people want to work for some broke person? Guys, your employees are leaving not if you're making money. They're leaving, and they'd be insane not to be searching for a job if you're not making money. Them knowing that we're making money is them knowing they have job security. This is just one of these scarcity things that are in the way. Do you think they don't know there's other jobs out there? Do you think did you somehow block access to Glassdoor.com or something on their computers? No, but then they'll find out come on. If you're massively underpaying for what it's supposed to be for the position set, if you're doing that, they know it anyway. B, no one wants to work for someone who's broke. The longevity, the job security of people that have been with me for 5 years, for 7 years, for 8 years, etc. It's because we're making money. It's because we pour into their 401ks. Every year we establish a profit threshold. A profit threshold that is at my discretion. Now there's an art to that profit threshold because I don't want it to be too easy to hit, but I also want to hit it. I want to share profit. And over that profit, I share 50% of the company profit up to 50% of their base salary. This is our profit share 401k program. It also has a 5-year vesting to it. So they know exactly where we are with profit. They know how much above the threshold we are. They know how much of it they're earning. And through it all, there's a retention element that's built. That I can't have the program and I can't have that kind of benefit for our employees. I'm talking about our W-2s right now, who don't see the upside, like potential upside, like the 1099s, who literally sometimes are distributing the big checks. Well, they're profit sharing with me. I'll make a $306,000 profit share payment next week from what we did last year to my employees, and it's awesome. But you have to get out of your own way there. Okay, and that's just a simple system on how, from a benefit standpoint. Speaking of benefits really quickly, because I think the time to just sneak something in here. You're not competing in the employment world. You're not competing with realtors. Sometimes I think realtors think that we're only competing with realtors. You're competing with the industries in your marketplace. I'm competing with the aerospace industry, with the biotech industry. You're not competing only in real estate. So you're often better off, instead of paying $45,000, you might be better off paying $42,000 with health benefits. And don't get stuck on the math, but do you see what I'm saying? You're competing against companies that are going to offer them health benefits, life, disability, etc. And just have that awareness and understand what makes certain people tick. Sometimes it's actually, you could end up at a very similar net number, especially with write-offs and so on. You can end up at a similar net number, but you can give them the peace of mind that they're looking for. Because it could be that they're looking at two jobs with a very similar pay, one with benefits, one without. You're going to lose, but I think sometimes we think we're only competing in the room. Competition is far outside of it. All right. Shift gears real quick and just give you something that you can sell a little bit more homes with this week. Yeah? If I've been talking your language, you're going to want to be in my office on June 29th and 30th, and I'll give you that opportunity on the back end of my talk. But I'll be there with John Cheplack, my integrator, Laura Branca, who's our CEO, integrator, depending on how, if you know that language, and my entire operations team, going through 2 full days of dissecting, detailed, documented, here you go, all the systems that operate the business. Underneath, how to document and roll them out so they're adopted by all, organizational structure, my economic model, how much should be going to here, to marketing, to salaries, and so on, not from a textbook, but from real life. And last thing on that, it was our number 1 most attended event last year with 200 plus people in the room in Nashville. This year we decided to do it in my new office. Fortunately, it's a large office, so it does fit 80 of us comfortably, but it doesn't fit 200-something of us. So that thing's going to wrap up real quick, and that'll be in San Diego. My inside sales team, our showing agent system, the whole deal. Open house plan. Here we go. I'm going to rock through this. This is something for you to document, roll out, give it to your VA, give it to your admin, whoever it is. This is how we run ours. First of all, I'm a believer that at scale, sending invitations all over the world and all that to have neighbors come and all, I don't know, it might have some effect. I think it has very little. Here's what I think has a great effect. Price, make sure it's on all the right websites. Great, we covered that. But 60 open house signs. Now, I'm a big outdoor marketing guy, billboards and so on. You put 60 open house signs out, and we put them out at 9 a.m., Now make sure sign ordinances in your area allow it. Some areas in San Diego do, some don't, like La Jolla. But where they do, we go 60. And we don't ask our agent to go sweat their armpits out and then rush back to the house and do it. It's awful, which brings another retention thing on how do we keep people and so on. But follow me here. We hire people on Craigslist. And they go out, they deploy them at 9 a.m., they stay out until 5 p.m. At the house, if you're going to do this, there needs to be a sign that says showing today 1 to 4. And now you have something for your listing presentation. Gee, Mr. Seller, while other people are going to just throw them out at, 12:55, rush back, sweating, all frantic and so on, we're going to have them out at 9 a.m. And because why shouldn't the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock traffic know about your house? Let them show up, see the 1 to 4 sign. They can go get an ice cream, a coffee. They could go get some lunch. They can come back. So now we have some differentiation in the actual listing presentation. And everything we do helps each other. Let's fast forward. You're at the house. I'm going to give you might go from thinking, hey, this guy, yeah, he's really intense, but I kind of like what he's saying. You might go right now to this is the weirdest, possibly dumbest shit I've ever heard. I beg you to try it. I thought the same thing. It just works. When they show up, first of all, your body needs to be in the way of the door, right, of the walkway. They show up, hey, nice to see you. Did you have an appointment to be with us for our event today? They go, what? There's 60 open house signs out there. And you have to understand emotionally, psychologically, I have 20 seconds. Justin, sorry. You guys want me to finish this quick? Yeah, psychologically, There's an excitement to getting out of the car and going and seeing the property. Maybe you drag the kids out and you show up to the door and you have your fake name ready to go. Your fake name, your fake number, your fake everything. So you show up, I blow their world up. Hey, do you have an appointment to be with us today? Huh? Yeah, most of the people that are here pre-registered for the event. But, let me go ahead and take care of you now. And there's relief. And they have now forgotten their fake information. This is about getting real information, what I'm teaching you, okay? Getting less Mickey Mouse, Donald Ducks registering. And then you look them in the eye. You say, your first name? And you look straight down. Oh, you write. They don't write. You write. I'm a paper guy. Let's not get into the whole thing. Apps, this, that. I like paper. I write it. Your name? John. Your last name? I look down. I wait. Silence. Awkwardness. Chuplet. Okay, good. I write it down. Here's where you're going to start thinking, I'm really, this is strange. And are you Yahoo or Gmail? And I look down. Say it verbatim. Don't change it. Go use it. Teach it to your agents. Are you Yahoo or Gmail? They go, I'm Gmail. Okay. What at Gmail? I mean, they can't remember their fake information. Okay. So we go through that. Then phone number. That would have ruined a good day. We go to the phone number. In San Diego, the area codes are 858-760 and 619. I just picked two of them. Okay, good. And are you 858 or 760? And I look down. Maybe they're from LA. I'm 310. Oh, 310. Oh, go ahead. And I take the phone number. Okay. Now I have the information. I let them in. Last little thing. There's a lot more in the follow-up after in the videos and so on. And we'll get through all those systems, operations at our operations event. But here's the deal. Here, now you have to give them relief. Okay. You've just gotten in their way. You're physically. I'm going to let you, all right, awesome. Let me just give you a very quick, 10-second orientation of the house. You're going to find this over there, that over there. Make sure you don't miss the barbecue outside. It's awesome. I'm going to, very important, I'm going to stay out of your way. I just want you to enjoy the property. I'll bump into you in a little bit later just to see if you have any questions, but I want you guys to have space and just really take it in and enjoy it. Then there's the after conversations when they come back and setting appointments and so on. We don't have time to go into that, but you do have to give them that relief that you're going to allow them to enjoy it. They now respect you for that. That's awesome. You're not the creepy person from the place across the block that was up in their ear the whole time. And it's a great way to then transition back when you do bump into them. They'll give you the respect back of answering your questions once you do have them because you gave them the respect of the space that they were hoping for. With that, if you want to write that down and check it out, like I said, there was 200 of us plus in the room in Nashville last year. It was our most attended event. We decided to go less people, less money, because it's less people, but a higher level experience in the operation, going through every detail that we possibly can over a packed 14 hours together, and then the recordings, the boot, so you could take it back to the office and reference over the years. Guys, I'm Dan Beer in San Diego, if I could help you, and appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.